Now let's talk about boundaries, the invisible lines that protect your energy, your values, and your worth. Boundaries aren't walls, they're declarations of self-respect. They tell the world how you expect to be treated and what you will no longer tolerate. When you set boundaries without apology, you create a space where respect naturally thrives. And here's the truth, a man who truly values you will honor those boundaries because he understands they define the foundation of your relationship. If he doesn't, then you've already answered a critical question about his intentions. Boundaries are not about control, they're about clarity. They're about knowing your limits and communicating them with confidence. Too often we confuse kindness with silence, believing that speaking up might push someone away. But the opposite is true. When you stay silent about what matters to you, you allow resentment to build, and resentment erodes connection. On the other hand, when you assert your needs clearly and firmly, you invite mutual understanding and deepen trust. You show him and yourself that your voice matters, that your feelings are valid, and that your presence comes with non-negotiable standards. The power of boundaries lies in their ability to redefine dynamics. When you say no to disrespect, neglect, or anything that diminishes your worth, you reclaim your power. You send a message that you are not here to be taken for granted. This isn't about being harsh or unkind. It's about being honest. It's about standing in your truth and refusing to compromise it for anyone. And when you do this consistently, something remarkable happens. People begin to treat you differently. They start seeing you as someone who demands respect, not through words alone, but through actions. That shift changes everything. But setting boundaries isn't always easy, especially if you've spent years prioritizing others' comfort over your own. It requires courage, a willingness to face discomfort and potential conflict head-on. Yet every time you enforce a boundary, you grow stronger. You prove to yourself that you can handle whatever comes your way, whether it's disappointment, resistance, or even loss. And here's the beautiful part. The more you practice this, the less fear holds you back. You realize that losing someone who refuses to respect your boundaries isn't a loss at all. It's liberation. It clears the path for someone who will cherish you exactly as you deserve to be cherished. To begin setting boundaries, start by identifying what feels unacceptable to you. What behaviors make you feel undervalued? Where do you find yourself compromising too much? Once you know these areas, communicate them calmly and directly. You don't need to justify or over-explain. Your feelings are reason enough. For example, if he cancels plans repeatedly without regard for your time, let him know how it affects you. Say, when you cancel last minute, I feel dismissed, and that's not okay with me. These simple yet powerful statements establish expectations while leaving no room for misinterpretation. And remember, boundaries are only as strong as your commitment to enforcing them. Setting a boundary once isn't enough. You must uphold it every single time. Consistency is key. If you waver, you signal that your boundaries are flexible, which invites others to test them. But when you stand firm, you create an environment where respect becomes non-negotiable. He'll quickly learn that crossing your lines comes with consequences, and that knowledge will shape how he approaches your relationship moving forward. This process also teaches you the importance of emotional independence. When you rely on someone else to validate your boundaries, you give them power over your peace. But when you take ownership of your limits, you free yourself from seeking external approval. You become the guardian of your own well-being, and that sense of autonomy is intoxicating. It tells him that you don't need him to behave a certain way. You simply choose to share your life with someone who aligns with your values. Losing that alignment would mean losing you, and that realization fuels his desire to hold on to you. As you embrace this practice, watch how it transforms not just your relationships, but your entire life. Boundaries create structure. They help you focus on what truly matters and eliminate distractions that drain your energy. They allow you to pour your time, love, and attention into people and experiences that uplift you, rather than wasting it on those that don't. You'll find yourself surrounded by individuals who genuinely appreciate you, who celebrate your strength, and who understand the value of respecting your space. And the man in your life, he'll see you as someone who commands admiration, not because you demand it, but because you embody it. The reward for mastering boundaries is immense. When you refuse to settle for less than you deserve, you position yourself as irreplaceable. You become someone who cannot be taken lightly, someone whose absence leaves a void that cannot be filled. He'll realize that loving you means respecting your rules, honoring your needs, and valuing your presence above all else. And that realization will keep him invested, not out of obligation, but out of sheer awe for the woman you are. So take a moment to reflect. Where do you need to draw firmer lines in your life? What behaviors have you tolerated for too long? Commit to addressing them today, starting with one clear boundary. Speak it aloud, enforce it without hesitation, and notice how it shifts the energy around you. Every line you draw strengthens your sense of self-worth and reinforces the idea that you are worthy of deep, unwavering respect. Keep going, because the journey to becoming untouchable is unfolding before you, one bold step at a time. Now, let's turn our focus to authenticity, the raw, unfiltered essence of who you are. In a world that often pressures us to conform, authenticity is your greatest weapon. It's what makes you unforgettable, irreplaceable, and deeply magnetic. When you show up as your true self, flaws, quirks, and all, you create a connection that goes beyond surface-level admiration. You inspire others to see you not just for what you do, but for who you are. And that kind of bond, it's unshakable. Authenticity is about owning every part of yourself, the light and the shadow. It's about embracing the things that make you unique, even if they don't fit neatly into societal expectations. Too often, we try to mold ourselves into what we think others want us to be. We silence our opinions, hide our passions, or suppress our emotions, believing it will make us more likable. But here's the truth. People don't fall in love with perfection. They fall in love with realness. They want to know the person behind the mask, the heartbeat beneath the armor. When you stop hiding and start revealing, you give them something worth holding on to. This doesn't mean oversharing or bearing your soul to everyone you meet. Authenticity is intentional. It's about sharing your truth in ways that feel aligned with your values and boundaries. It's about being vulnerable without losing your strength, open without compromising your safety. For example, instead of pretending everything is fine when it's not, you might say, "I've been feeling overwhelmed lately, but I'm working through it." That simple act of honesty invites trust and deepens connection. It shows him that you're human, relatable, and courageous enough to face life head-on. But here's where authenticity gets its power. It disarms manipulation and games. When you're genuine, there's no room for pretense or strategy. You attract people who appreciate you for exactly who you are, not for the version of yourself you think they want. This clarity cuts through the noise, creating relationships built on mutual respect and admiration. The man in your life will find himself drawn to your transparency, your willingness to be imperfect yet unapologetically you. He'll realize that loving you means accepting all of you, and walking away would mean losing something truly rare. Embracing authenticity also means letting go of the need to please everyone. You'll never be everything to everyone, and that's okay. Trying to win universal approval only dilutes your essence, leaving you feeling drained and disconnected from yourself. Instead, focus on being someone who stays true to their core, even when it's uncomfortable. When you prioritize alignment over acceptance, you magnetize those who resonate with your energy while repelling those who don't. And that's a good thing. It ensures that the people in your life are there because they genuinely value you, not because you bent yourself out of shape to keep them around. To cultivate this level of authenticity, start by reconnecting with your inner voice. What do you truly believe in? What sets your soul on fire? What makes you laugh until your cheeks hurt or cry until you feel lighter? These are the pieces of you that deserve to be seen and celebrated. Share them boldly, without fear of judgment. Let your laughter echo louder, your convictions shine brighter, and your passions burn hotter. When you live this way, you become a beacon of truth in a world full of facades. People will gravitate toward your energy because it feels refreshing, grounding, and utterly real. And here's the transformative part. When you embrace authenticity, you stop seeking validation from others. You already know your worth, so you no longer rely on external approval to feel whole. This shift is liberating. It frees you from the weight of other people's opinions and allows you to step fully into your power. You begin to operate from a place of abundance, knowing that you have everything you need within you. That confidence radiates outward, drawing others to you like moths to a flame. They'll see you as someone who doesn't need them, but chooses them anyway. And that choice becomes the foundation of a love that lasts. As you continue down this path of authenticity, remember that it's not always easy. There will be moments when staying true to yourself feels risky, when the fear of rejection or criticism creeps in. But each time you choose authenticity over conformity, you strengthen your sense of self. You remind yourself that you are enough just as you are, and that your uniqueness is your superpower. Over time, this practice becomes second nature, shaping how you show up in every area of your life. You'll find yourself attracting people who celebrate your individuality, who cheer for your dreams, and who stand beside you as equals. The reward for embracing authenticity is profound. When you refuse to dim your light for anyone, you position yourself as someone who cannot be replaced. You become a force of nature, someone whose presence demands respect, whose honesty inspires trust, and whose spirit ignites passion. He'll look at you and see someone who isn't afraid to take up space, to speak your mind, to live boldly. Losing you would mean losing access to a love that's rooted in truth. And that realization will fuel his desire to hold on to you forever. So ask yourself, where are you still holding back? Where are you hiding parts of yourself to fit in or avoid conflict? Commit to bringing those hidden pieces into the light, one step at a time. Speak your truth, honor your feelings, and let your authentic self shine without apology. Every moment of courage brings you closer to becoming the woman you were always meant to be. A woman who commands awe, inspires devotion, and leaves an indelible mark on everyone she meets. Keep going, because the journey to radical authenticity is the key to unlocking a love that's as limitless as you are. Now let's talk about the art of creating positive associations. How every interaction you have with him can become a thread that weaves your presence into the fabric of his happiness. Think about it. When someone consistently brings joy, excitement, and fulfillment into your life, how could you ever imagine letting them go? That's the power of association. You want to become the person he links to everything good, everything meaningful, everything worth holding on to. And the best part? This transformation starts with small, intentional choices that compound over time. Every moment you share is an opportunity to leave an impression, to plant seeds of positivity that grow deeper with each passing day. It begins with your energy. Are you the kind of person who walks into a room and lifts everyone's spirits? Or do you radiate warmth, optimism, and enthusiasm? These qualities aren't just attractive, they're magnetic. They make people want to be near you, to soak in the light you bring. When he thinks of you, he should feel a surge of happiness, a sense of relief, or even a spark of inspiration. You want to be the highlight of his day, the reason he smiles unexpectedly, the person he turns to when life feels heavy. But creating these positive associations isn't about being overly cheerful or pretending everything is perfect. It's about showing up as someone who adds value to his life in authentic ways. It's about listening deeply when he speaks, celebrating his victories, and offering support during his struggles. It's about finding little moments to surprise him. A thoughtful text, a spontaneous gesture, or simply the way you laugh at his jokes without pretense. These acts may seem small, but they build a reservoir of goodwill, layer upon layer, until your presence becomes synonymous with comfort and connection. The psychology behind this is simple, yet profound. Humans are wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. When you consistently associate yourself with positive emotions, you naturally become someone he wants to keep close. His brain begins to link your presence with feelings of joy, safety, and excitement. Over time, the idea of losing you triggers not just sadness, but fear. The fear of losing access to all the goodness you bring into his world. And that's exactly where you want to be. Indispensable, irreplaceable, unforgettable. To master this skill, focus on amplifying the positives in your relationship while minimizing negativity. Conflict is inevitable, but it's how you handle those moments that shapes the narrative of your bond. Instead of letting disagreements spiral into resentment, approach them with calmness and understanding. Frame challenges as opportunities to grow together rather than reasons to drift apart. The more you prioritize harmony and resolution, the stronger your foundation becomes, and the more he'll associate you with peace rather than chaos. Another powerful way to create positive associations is by nurturing shared experiences. Memories are emotional anchors, and the more meaningful moments you create together, the tighter your connection grows. Whether it's exploring new places, trying new activities, or simply sharing quiet evenings filled with laughter and conversation, these shared experiences embed themselves in his heart. They become stories he cherishes, reminders of why being with you feels so right. Losing those memories would mean losing a piece of himself, and no one willingly gives that up. And here's the secret ingredient: gratitude. Gratitude transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary ones. When you express appreciation for the things he does, no matter how small, you amplify their significance. A simple thank you or I noticed that, and it meant a lot to me, can turn a routine act into something memorable. This practice doesn't just deepen his affection for you, it also reinforces your own perspective, helping you see the beauty in your relationship rather than focusing on what's lacking. Gratitude shifts your mindset from scarcity to abundance, and that shift ripples outward, touching every interaction you have. As you work to create these positive associations, remember that consistency is key. One grand gesture won't sustain a lasting impact. It's the accumulation of daily efforts that truly matters. Show up fully, stay present, and invest in making every moment count. Let your actions reflect your intentions, and watch as he begins to associate you with everything that makes life brighter. He'll find himself craving your company, eager to experience the magic you bring into his world. And the thought of losing that magic, it will become unbearable. This process also strengthens your emotional bond, creating a cycle of mutual admiration and respect. The more he associates you with positivity, the more he'll invest in keeping you happy. The more he invests, the stronger your connection grows. It's a self-reinforcing loop that ensures your relationship remains rooted in love, trust, and shared joy. But none of this happens unless you take the first step, unless you decide today to pour positivity into every interaction you have. So ask yourself, how can you infuse more light into your relationship? What small gestures can you make to remind him of your value? How can you ensure that every moment you share leaves him feeling uplifted, inspired, and deeply connected to you? Commit to these practices wholeheartedly, knowing that each effort brings you closer to becoming someone he cannot imagine living without. Because when you become the source of his greatest joys, the fear of losing you becomes inevitable. Not because you forced it, but because you've earned it. Keep going, because the journey to becoming the heart of his happiness is only getting more powerful. Now, let's focus on emotional independence, the cornerstone of a relationship that thrives on mutual admiration rather than dependency. Emotional independence doesn't mean shutting people out or building walls. It means standing firmly in your own power while still allowing yourself to be vulnerable and connected. It's about knowing that your happiness doesn't hinge on anyone else's actions, choices, or presence. When you cultivate this kind of self-reliance, you become someone who inspires respect, not pity. Someone whose strength makes them unforgettable. Think about the most magnetic people you know. Aren't they the ones who seem unshakable, even in the face of challenges? They don't cling or beg for attention because they already know their worth. Their confidence comes from within, and it radiates outward, drawing others toward them like moths to a flame. That's the energy you need to embody. Emotional independence is what allows you to show up fully without needing constant reassurance or validation. It tells him and everyone around you that you are complete on your own, yet choose to share your life with those who enhance it. This mindset shift is crucial because dependency erodes attraction. When you rely too heavily on someone else to fulfill your emotional needs, you create an imbalance. You start giving away pieces of your power, hoping they'll fill the void. But here's the truth. No one can truly complete you except yourself. The moment you stop seeking external sources of happiness is the moment you reclaim your autonomy. And when you do, something remarkable happens. He begins to see you as someone who doesn't need him, but chooses him anyway. That realization deepens his admiration and fuels his desire to hold on to you. To cultivate emotional independence, start by examining where you might be giving away your power. Are you waiting for him to make you feel loved, valued, or secure? Are you sacrificing your peace to keep the connection intact? If so, it's time to take that power back. Begin by nurturing your own emotional well-being. Surround yourself with people who uplift you. Engage in activities that bring you joy and practice gratitude for everything you already have. These small acts of self-care reinforce the idea that your happiness starts with you, not anyone else. Another key aspect of emotional independence is learning how to process your emotions internally before projecting them outward. When something bothers you, resist the urge to immediately seek resolution from him. Instead, sit with your feelings, understand their root cause, and decide how best to address them. This practice not only strengthens your emotional resilience, but also prevents unnecessary conflict. When you approach conversations calmly and thoughtfully, you demonstrate maturity and self-awareness, qualities that command respect and deepen trust. Emotional independence also frees you from the fear of rejection or abandonment. When you know you can handle anything life throws at you, you stop living in fear of losing someone. This sense of security transforms your relationships because it removes desperation. You interact with him from a place of abundance rather than scarcity, making your connection feel lighter, healthier, and more authentic. He'll notice this shift and respond accordingly, investing more deeply in a bond that feels balanced and fulfilling. As you continue to strengthen your emotional independence, watch how it impacts every area of your life. Relationships thrive when both individuals bring their full selves to the table, not just fragments hoping to be pieced together. By taking responsibility for your own happiness, you inspire him to do the same. Together, you create a partnership rooted in mutual growth, support, and admiration. A dynamic where neither person feels trapped or obligated, but both choose each other daily because they genuinely want to. The reward for mastering emotional independence is immense. When you stop relying on him to validate your worth, you position yourself as someone who cannot be taken for granted. You become untouchable, not because you're cold or distant, but because you exude a quiet strength that demands respect. He'll realize that loving you means cherishing the freedom and authenticity you embody, and walking away would mean losing access to a love that's rare and profound. That understanding will fuel his commitment, ensuring he fights to keep you close. So ask yourself, where are you still giving away your power? Where are you waiting for him to make you feel whole? Commit to reclaiming that power today, starting with one small act of self-love. Speak kindly to yourself, prioritize your needs, and remind yourself daily that you are enough. Every effort you make reinforces your emotional independence and positions you as someone who commands awe, not because you demand it, but because you embody it. Keep going, because the journey to becoming emotionally untethered is the path to creating a love that's built to last. Now, let's talk about sparking curiosity, the subtle yet powerful force that keeps someone intrigued, invested, and endlessly fascinated by you. Curiosity is the engine of attraction. It's what drives people to seek more, to dig deeper, to want to uncover every layer of who you are. When you master the art of keeping him guessing, you create a dynamic where complacency has no room to take root. Instead, your relationship becomes a journey of discovery, one that feels fresh, exciting, and possible to walk away from. The key to sparking curiosity lies in staying unpredictable, not in a way that feels chaotic or unreliable, but in a way that leaves him eager to see what you'll do next. Humans are wired to crave novelty, and when you introduce new elements into your life and your interactions, you tap into that innate desire. Share a dream you've been nurturing, mention a book that changed your perspective, or invite him to join you for an experience he's never had before. These moments of surprise keep him engaged, reminding him that being with you means stepping into a world full of wonder and possibility. But here's the deeper truth. Curiosity isn't just about what you say, it's about how you live. When you're constantly growing, exploring, and evolving, you naturally become someone who's hard to pin down. You're not static, you're a living, breathing work of art that's always adding new strokes, new colors, new dimensions. This kind of vibrancy is magnetic because it suggests there's always more to learn about you. He'll find himself wondering what passion you'll pursue next, what insight you'll share tomorrow, or what adventure you'll embark on together. Losing access to that sense of endless discovery would feel like losing a part of himself, and no one willingly lets that go. To cultivate this spark, start by embracing your own curiosity first. The more fascinated you are by the world around you, the more fascinating you become to others. Dive into hobbies that excite you, explore topics that ignite your mind, and surround yourself with people who challenge your thinking. Let your enthusiasm be contagious. When you light up about something, it draws others in. And when he sees the fire in your eyes, he'll want to stay close to its warmth. Your energy will inspire him to step out of his comfort zone, to match your zest for life, and to cherish the way you make every day feel like an opportunity. Another way to spark curiosity is by leaving questions unanswered, not out of manipulation, but out of genuine intrigue. Instead of revealing everything at once, offer glimpses of your thoughts, your dreams, your quirks. For example, instead of explaining the entire story behind a new interest, drop hints that leave him wanting to know more. Say something like, "I've been working on a project that's really pushed me outside my comfort zone," and let him ask the follow-up questions. This approach invites dialogue, deepens connection, and ensures that your presence remains a source of fascination. And here's the transformative part. Curiosity fuels effort. When someone is genuinely curious about you, they'll invest time and energy into understanding you better. They'll listen more intently, observe more closely, and show up more fully. This creates a cycle of mutual engagement, a relationship where both people are actively contributing to each other's growth and happiness. He'll realize that being with you isn't passive. It's an invitation to grow alongside someone who's as dynamic and captivating as you are. Walking away from that would mean walking away from a love that challenges and inspires him to be his best self. As you work to spark curiosity, remember that authenticity remains your anchor. Unpredictability should enhance your true self, not replace it. Be bold in showing your unique qualities, but don't fabricate mystery for the sake of intrigue. True curiosity stems from genuine fascination with who you are, not from manufactured enigma. When you stay rooted in your authenticity while embracing growth and exploration, you create a presence that's both real and mesmerizing, a combination that's rare and unforgettable. The reward for mastering this skill is profound. When you keep him curious, you position yourself as someone who cannot be taken for granted. You become a constant source of inspiration, a partner who brings excitement and depth into his life. He'll look at you and see someone who makes every moment feel meaningful, someone whose absence would leave a void too vast to fill. That realization will fuel his desire to hold on to you, to ensure he never loses the chance to continue discovering all that you are. So ask yourself, how can you infuse more curiosity into your relationship? What new ideas, experiences, or perspectives can you bring into the mix? How can you ensure that every interaction leaves him eager to know more? Commit to these practices wholeheartedly, knowing that each effort strengthens the bond between you. Keep challenging yourself, keep surprising him, and watch as your connection grows stronger, deeper, and more unbreakable with every passing day. Because when you become someone who sparks curiosity, you also become someone who inspires devotion. And that's exactly where you want to be. Keep going, because the journey to becoming endlessly fascinating is only getting more powerful. Now, let's talk about the final piece of this transformation, knowing your value and refusing to settle for anything less than extraordinary. Knowing your value isn't just a mindset, it's a declaration. It's the unwavering belief that you are worthy of love, respect, and admiration, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. When you embrace this truth fully, you create a standard that others must meet to be part of your life. And the man in your life? He'll quickly realize that having you means stepping up to honor the greatness you embody. This is where the fear of losing you reaches its peak, not through manipulation or games, but through the sheer force of your self-worth. When you know your value, you stop tolerating mediocrity. You stop accepting half-hearted effort, lukewarm affection, or anything that falls short of the devotion you deserve. You begin to operate from a place of abundance, knowing that there's no shortage of people who would cherish the opportunity to love someone like you. This energy is magnetic, and it sends a clear message. If he wants to keep you, he'll need to rise to the occasion and stay there. But here's the deeper truth. Knowing your value starts with how you treat yourself. If you don't believe you're extraordinary, no one else will either. Every time you prioritize your needs, honor your boundaries, and celebrate your strengths, you reinforce the idea that you are irreplaceable. You become someone who doesn't beg for attention or validation. You simply exist as someone who commands it. That kind of confidence doesn't come from external sources. It comes from within. It's built through daily choices that reflect your worth, and those choices shape how others see you. To truly embody this mindset, start by examining the standards you've set for yourself and your relationships. Are they high enough to reflect the brilliance you bring into the world? Or have you lowered them out of fear, convenience, or doubt? If so, it's time to recalibrate. Decide today what you will and won't accept, what behaviors align with your values, what actions demonstrate genuine care, and what qualities make someone worthy of your time and love. Once you define these standards, enforce them without hesitation. This isn't about being rigid or unkind, it's about being clear about your non-negotiables and ensuring that anyone who enters your life respects them. And here's the transformative part. When you refuse to settle, you attract people who refuse to settle too. The man in your life will feel inspired to be his best self because he knows that anything less won't cut it with you. He'll see how fiercely you honor your own worth and understand that loving you means matching that level of commitment. That realization creates a relationship rooted in mutual admiration, where both people strive to give their all and hold nothing back. Losing that kind of connection would mean losing access to a love that's rare, profound, and deeply fulfilling. As you continue to elevate your standards, remember that consistency is everything. Living according to your values isn't a one-time decision, it's a lifelong practice. Every boundary you enforce, every expectation you uphold, and every act of self-respect reinforces the narrative of who you are. Over time, this practice becomes second nature, shaping how you show up in every area of your life. You'll find yourself attracting individuals who genuinely appreciate you, who celebrate your strength, and who understand that loving you is a privilege, not an entitlement. The reward for knowing your value and refusing to settle is unparalleled. When you position yourself as someone who demands excellence, you become unforgettable. You inspire awe, not because you try to, but because you live in alignment with your worth. He'll look at you and see someone who cannot be replaced, someone whose presence elevates his life in ways he never imagined possible. Walking away from that would mean walking away from a version of himself he only discovered because of you, and no one willingly gives up growth like that. So ask yourself, where are you still compromising your standards? Where are you tolerating less than you deserve? Commit to raising the bar today, starting with one clear boundary or one bold decision that reflects your value. Speak it aloud, live it fully, and notice how it shifts the energy around you. Every moment of courage brings you closer to becoming the woman you were always meant to be. A woman who commands respect, inspires devotion, and leaves an indelible mark on everyone she meets. Keep going, because the journey to knowing your worth is the key to unlocking a love that's as limitless as you are. Remember, this isn't just about him. It's about you stepping fully into your power. When you become someone who refuses to settle, you create a life that's rich with meaning, passion, and connection. You inspire others to rise to your level, and you give yourself the gift of a love that honors everything you are. Stay committed to this path, and watch as the fear of losing you becomes inevitable. Not because you forced it, but because you earned it. Keep rising, because the journey to becoming untouchable is only getting stronger. Now let's talk about the ultimate reward. The moment when all your efforts culminate in a love that feels unshakable, unwavering, and deeply rooted in mutual admiration. This is the kind of connection where a fear of loss isn't born out of insecurity or control, but out of sheer awe for the person standing beside you. It's the kind of bond that makes him realize he's not just lucky to have you, he's profoundly grateful. And that gratitude becomes the foundation of a relationship that lasts, not because it has to, but because neither of you can imagine it any other way. Achieving this level of devotion starts with the culmination of everything you've been building: confidence, boundaries, authenticity, emotional independence, and an unrelenting commitment to your own growth. Each of these elements works in harmony to create a presence so magnetic, so irreplaceable, that walking away feels unthinkable. But here's the beauty of it. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Every step you take toward becoming the best version of yourself brings you closer to a love that reflects your worth. You don't need to be flawless, you just need to be unstoppable in your pursuit of greatness. When you embody this energy, something incredible happens. He stops seeing you as someone he simply loves and starts seeing you as someone who defines his happiness. Your laughter becomes the soundtrack of his days. Your strength becomes the anchor he leans on, and your dreams become the horizon he wants to chase with you. He'll find himself thinking about the little things, the way you light up a room, the quiet wisdom in your words, the warmth of your touch, and realizing how much those moments mean to him. Losing you would mean losing a part of himself, and no one willingly surrenders that kind of connection. But here's the deeper truth. This transformation isn't just about him, it's about the legacy you're creating for yourself. When you commit to living a life of purpose, passion, and self-respect, you become someone who inspires others to do the same. You set a standard that elevates everyone around you, including him. He'll look at you and see not just a partner, but a force of nature, someone who challenges him to grow, supports him in his journey, and reminds him what it means to truly live. That's the kind of impact that leaves a mark long after the moment has passed, and it's the reason why people fight to hold on to someone like you. To solidify this kind of connection, focus on consistency, not perfection. Love that lasts is built on small daily actions that reinforce trust, respect, and admiration. Show up fully in every interaction, speak with intention, and lead with kindness without sacrificing your strength. Celebrate his victories, honor his struggles, and never stop reminding him why being with you is a gift. These gestures may seem simple, but they compound over time, creating a bond that feels effortless yet extraordinary. He'll begin to associate your presence with everything good in his life, making the thought of losing you unbearable. And here's the transformative part. When you build a relationship rooted in mutual admiration, you also create a safe space for vulnerability. Both of you feel seen, heard, and valued, which allows you to share your deepest truths without fear of judgment. This level of emotional intimacy is rare, and it's what separates fleeting connections from lifelong partnerships. He'll cherish the way you make him feel, understood, accepted, and loved for exactly who he is. And in return, he'll give you the same gift, ensuring that your bond grows stronger with every passing day. As you continue down this path, remember that the work never truly ends. Growth is a lifelong journey, and relationships thrive when both individuals are committed to evolving together. Stay curious about each other, stay open to learning, and never stop finding new ways to deepen your connection. The more you invest in this dynamic, the more unbreakable it becomes. He'll realize that loving you isn't just a choice, it's a privilege, one he'll guard fiercely because he knows how rare you are. The reward for this level of dedication is profound. When you become someone who commands respect, inspires devotion, and embodies unwavering self-worth, you position yourself as unforgettable. You inspire a love that's built to withstand the test of time, a love that feels less like obligation and more like destiny. He'll look at you and see not just the person he loves, but the person he can't imagine living without. And that realization will fuel his commitment, ensuring he fights to keep you close no matter what challenges arise. So ask yourself, what's one more step you can take today to strengthen the foundation of your worth? How can you show up even more fully, love even more deeply, and live even more authentically? Commit to these practices wholeheartedly, knowing that each effort brings you closer to a love that honors everything you are. Keep rising, keep growing, and watch as the fear of losing you becomes inevitable. Not because you forced it, but because you earned it. This is your moment to step fully into your power, to create a connection that feels limitless, and to become someone who leaves an indelible mark on everyone she meets. Keep going, because the journey to becoming untouchable is only getting stronger, and so are you. Now let's bring everything together and focus on the mindset that will carry you forward. The unshakable belief that you are the architect of your destiny. This isn't just about creating a love that lasts, it's about stepping into a life where you are the driving force behind every triumph, every connection, and every moment of fulfillment. When you embrace this truth fully, you stop waiting for happiness to find you and start building it yourself. And in doing so, you become someone who doesn't just inspire devotion, but commands it through the sheer power of your presence. The foundation of this mindset lies in ownership. Ownership of your choices, your actions, and your outcomes. Too often, we fall into the trap of blaming circumstances or other people for where we are in life. But here's the liberating truth. You have the power to shape your reality. Every decision you make, no matter how small, contributes to the person you're becoming. When you own this responsibility, you step into a role of immense strength. You stop seeing challenges as obstacles and start viewing them as opportunities to grow, to rise, to prove to yourself just how unstoppable you are. This shift in perspective transforms not only your life, but also the way others see you. When you embody this level of accountability, something remarkable happens. You begin to radiate authority, not over others, but over yourself. You show the world that you are someone who takes control of their narrative, who refuses to be defined by setbacks, and who relentlessly pursues excellence. This energy is magnetic because it inspires trust and respect. He'll look at you and see someone who doesn't just navigate life with grace, but conquers it with purpose. Losing you would mean losing access to a partner who elevates him, challenges him, and reminds him what it means to live fully, and no one willingly lets go of that. To cultivate this mindset, start by reframing how you approach challenges. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this? How can I use this to become stronger?" These questions shift your focus from victimhood to empowerment, allowing you to face adversity with resilience and clarity. Every time you overcome an obstacle, you reinforce your belief in your ability to handle anything life throws your way. And when you operate from that place of certainty, fear loses its grip on you. You realize that even if you were to lose him, you'd still be okay. Not because you don't care, but because you've built a life that's rich with meaning and self-worth. This sense of inner stability also gives you the freedom to love boldly without fear of loss. When you know you can handle anything, you stop clinging and start thriving. You give yourself permission to pour your heart into the relationship without reservation, knowing that your happiness isn't dependent on its outcome. This paradoxical blend of vulnerability and strength is what makes you irresistible. It tells him that loving you isn't a gamble. It's a guarantee of passion, loyalty, and unwavering support. And that realization becomes the glue that holds your connection together, making the thought of walking away unbearable. As you continue to strengthen this mindset, remember that consistency is your greatest ally. Growth doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of daily decisions that align with your values and vision. Celebrate the small wins, honor your progress, and never underestimate the power of incremental change. Each step forward reinforces your confidence, deepens your self-respect, and solidifies your position as someone who cannot be taken for granted. He'll notice this evolution and respond accordingly, investing more deeply in a bond that feels rooted in mutual admiration and respect. And here's the transformative part. When you live with this level of intention, you create a ripple effect that touches every area of your life. Your relationships thrive because you approach them from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. Your dreams feel within reach because you've stopped doubting your ability to achieve them. Your presence becomes a source of inspiration, drawing people towards you who resonate with your energy and share your commitment to growth. The man in your life will find himself eager to keep up, to match your drive and determination, and to ensure he never loses access to the brilliance you bring into his world. The reward for embracing this mindset is unparalleled. When you become someone who owns their power, you position yourself as unforgettable. You inspire awe, not because you demand it, but because you embody it. He'll look at you and see someone who defines possibility, someone whose absence would leave a void too vast to fill. That understanding will fuel his desire to hold on to you, to fight for you, to ensure he never takes you for granted. Because when you are the master of your destiny, you leave no room for doubt. You are irreplaceable. So take a moment to reflect. Where can you take greater ownership of your life? What choices can you make today that align with the person you want to become? How can you ensure that every action you take reinforces the truth of your worth? Commit to these practices wholeheartedly, knowing that each effort brings you closer to a love that honors everything you are. Keep rising, keep growing, and watch as the fear of losing you becomes inevitable, not because you forced it, but because you earned it. This is your moment to step fully into your power, to create a connection that feels limitless, and to become someone who leaves an indelible mark on everyone she meets. Keep going, because the journey to becoming untouchable is only getting stronger, and so are you. Now let's focus on the final piece of this transformation, the moment when all your efforts converge into a love that feels inevitable, profound, and unshakable. This is the culmination of everything you've been building: the confidence to stand tall, the boundaries that protect your worth, the authenticity that makes you unforgettable, and the growth that ensures you're always moving forward. When these elements align, you create a presence so magnetic, so irreplaceable, that losing you becomes unthinkable, not because he fears loneliness, but because he knows life without you would lose its brilliance. This kind of connection doesn't happen by chance. It's the result of deliberate choices and unwavering commitment. Every time you choose self-respect over compromise, every time you speak your truth without apology, every time you pursue your passions with relentless determination, you reinforce the foundation of a love that can withstand anything. You stop being someone who fits into his life and start becoming someone who elevates it. Someone whose very existence reminds him of what it means to live fully, love deeply, and dream boldly. That's the kind of bond that inspires devotion, the kind that makes him realize walking away would mean leaving behind the best part of himself. But here's the deeper truth. This isn't just about creating fear of loss, it's about creating a love that transcends it. Fear alone can't sustain a relationship. Admiration and respect are what make it last. When you embody the qualities that inspire both, you position yourself as someone who cannot be replaced. He'll look at you and see not just the person he loves, but the person who challenges him to grow, supports him in his struggles, and celebrates him in his victories. You become his anchor, his muse, his greatest ally, and losing that would mean losing access to a partnership that feels like destiny. To solidify this kind of connection, focus on the small, intentional acts that deepen emotional intimacy. It's not about grand gestures or dramatic declarations. It's about the quiet moments that remind him why he fell in love with you in the first place. The way you listen without judgment, the way you encourage his dreams, the way you hold space for his vulnerabilities, all of these actions weave a tapestry of trust and admiration that grows stronger with time. He'll begin to associate your presence with safety, joy, and fulfillment, making the thought of losing you feel like losing a part of himself. And here's the transformative part. When you build a relationship rooted in mutual respect and shared growth, you also create a legacy of love that extends beyond the two of you. Your connection becomes a testament to what's possible when two people commit to becoming their best selves together. It inspires those around you to seek relationships that honor their worth, to strive for partnerships that elevate rather than diminish. And in doing so, you leave an impact that goes far beyond your immediate circle. You become a beacon of possibility, proof that love can be both beautiful and empowering. As you continue down this path, remember that the journey never truly ends. Growth is infinite, and relationships thrive when both individuals are committed to evolving alongside each other. Stay curious about who he is becoming. Stay open to discovering new facets of yourself, and never stop finding ways to deepen your bond. The more you invest in this dynamic, the more unbreakable it becomes. He'll realize that loving you isn't just a choice, it's a privilege. One he'll guard fiercely because he knows how rare you are. The reward for this level of dedication is profound. When you position yourself as someone who commands respect, inspires devotion, and embodies unwavering self-worth, you create a love that feels limitless. You inspire a connection that's built to withstand the test of time, a love that feels less like obligation and more like destiny. He'll look at you and see not just the person he loves, but the person he can't imagine living without. And that realization will fuel his commitment, ensuring he fights to keep you close no matter what challenges arise. So take a moment to reflect. What's one more step you can take today to strengthen the foundation of your worth? How can you show up even more fully, love even more deeply, and live even more authentically? Commit to these practices wholeheartedly, knowing that each effort brings you closer to a love that honors everything you are. Keep rising, keep growing, and watch as the fear of losing you becomes inevitable. Not because you forced it, but because you earned it. This is your moment to step fully into your power, to create a connection that feels limitless, and to become someone who leaves an indelible mark on everyone she meets. Keep going, because the journey to becoming untouchable is only getting stronger. And so are you.